know what I had to. Instead of waiting to if I over when I forget how to
I don't want to.
I did.
Yeah. But it's like, there goes stupid. I go, that doesn't make sense. Because I have to eat a bunch. It's all over 6 degrees. That's all I've been eating for the last month. And that's been I called. I go, that's not weird. So I got to see what happens. But I swear, it'll be too much all of a sudden. Oh, yeah. I don't know. They don't have to leave anymore. Oh, and this is weird too. So I go to the bank. It's so.
Hello, everybody. Let's go. Let's see here.
Oh, I know. Since we're talking there, I said, what do you know about the tax? And the city? Because I know, but finally she put the article in. Where have you been from? They should have had that note. They still haven't sent you the notice.
No, but they,
So I realized the city should already put that notice out. There's nothing in writing, so the bank showed it to me. Because here's the thing we got from them, and it said so and so. You know, we're doing this, and then the next day they're just inspecting. It took you that long. You should have had the paper already. No, they're saying in the next couple of days. That's it'll come in the mail to say that you got to do it. So you could have done that a month ago.
But they're saying a month ago, they didn't know when they were. They said, we're going to start.
I realize. They didn't give you a notice of what they were doing. I guess. I think that whole thing is a secret.
Apparently, I was reading now, they took some businesses.
Maybe it was out too. I don't know. I don't think it's
See.
We're gonna be hit too long. Oh yeah, we're gonna get hit. Even now, all of a sudden, this thing that wasn't working, and I wondered if it's something related. I get this pop-up, right? Pop-up screen, it's this thing, not change your password, it's code and all that. Put the password in, and I see that one before. So in other words, I'm looking for my copy of the password. Now I'm looking at it.
Good. See, it's faster.
No, I didn't want you to change it.
But yeah, I remember years ago. Moon Siri, interesting.
Yeah, but then somebody would have to go in and look at the road.
That's what they say. They take this used.
Oh, I've always had that. And the guy said, don't just use the motor when it's easier. You wonder because then that guy from the company could always hook up your. Yeah. Like a company employee, I'm saying. No. Right. That's right. I wonder if that guy was something to say, well, I don't want to probably they do with it anyway. I don't know. Yeah, but having said that, on this tax thing, and since we had this bug, Why is it that even if I'm gonna pay monthly, you can be automatic? You assume it's going to be automatic. And before, you used to say, okay, I got. The city changed that because we're getting pissed off, getting late and all that. I can see that. Now they do it automatically. So with the new security, why are they so stupid to say, wait a minute, it's not gonna be directly automatic, but what it's gonna be is, call it a week before your taxes, due, you get the notice of other people, right? Okay, now you'll get a code that says, we're sending you a code first. Then, once you get the code, then you can pay. So there's no duality there. It's single, it just says, no, you're just going to
Wow.
the city's bound, or you're going to take it out. No, they shouldn't. So in other words, it has to be two persons, me and the city.
The
should
dead
say, okay,
today.
no quote. It's like a lot of them.
I guess maybe that's something up on the screen. An idea I have. Here we go.
Oh,
All right, so this is an idea I have for, I guess, both a passion and an interest for myself. Just something to monetize, right? So just thinking of, I'm serious about this too. Is creating a master's course in apologetics will include limits to 1 hour. The logic and rhetoric and linguistics / epistemology are must-haves for apologetics. How to develop your logical / reasoning skills and your rhetoric skills and engagement with non-believers. How to steelman your argument in position. Learning the importance, and this is absolutely monumentally important, and I cannot overstress this, is the ability to have philosophy and your ability to reason things in the area of apologetics. Philosophy is, it's so important. I cannot overstate it. Anyways, online, in person, use your intellect, common sense, induction, analogies, and life experiences to provide good arguments for God / theism, the Bible, and Jesus. Provide amazing arguments to people of all levels, ages, both simple and complex ways, and make it accessible. It means you're speaking at a level that people will understand, even if you're speaking about complex things, so everyone can understand. How to use historical evidence for Jesus, both his life and resurrection, and much, much more. So this again, I didn't put it in here, but I'll say it now, is that this will be an intermediate, which would be college, and advanced, which would be university level. And the only thing that will really be changed from the easier to the harder levels is the rhetoric. So I'm going to assume that if you're at the advanced level, that you understand the rhetoric, and if not, that's on you. Okay, that's about it. I see someone was here. I don't know who was here, but if you come back, I will engage. I'm here for it. I saw someone come and go, so whoever you are, hopefully come back. Someone was around here. I don't know. Someone was hitting this. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe, people are a bit fickle, so if someone wants to come back, engage, come on the show, that'd be great. I have time. Obviously making the time. I'll work that video uploading right now to YouTube as I speak. That's helpful. I think kind of killed 2 birds with 1 stone. I got a self-defense video that I am uploading. It's a gorgeous day here in Hamilton, so took advantage of the weather earlier and did a bit of training and got that video done. Now it's in the process of getting out on YouTube, which unfortunately takes a bit of time, sometimes longer than I like to, but c'est la vie, such is life.
Put your taxes on.
Oh.
Something.
All right, so maybe I'll talk a little more. So, apologetics, I've been asked about it, like my credentials, and my credentials is like I've studied at a university level, and then I also I've been learning apologetics on the sidelines here and there from debates and arguments. And, Waishimitsubig? I don't know what that means. What does it mean? Waishimit. What does that mean, Willie? Why am I shimit so big? I don't know what that means. You're gonna have to speak in plain English. Speak like a normal person. I don't know what that means, so you're gonna have to see it again. Speak like a normal person. You're already speaking at a level that's illogical. So anyway. What's up, Willie? What do you want to talk about? But if we're going to talk, you've got to speak in a way that I can understand you. Otherwise, we're not going to get anywhere. No problem, man. You're on. So if you want to, if you're engaging, you're online. So whatever I say that's on you. What's wrong with you, man? Just talk like a normal person. What the hell is this Schmidt?
Then they stopped that and gave you a summary.
I mean, if you can't think and reason like a normal person, I don't even know why you're here. Because you're clearly not a normal person. All right, Willie. Well, you seem a little on edge. You seem a little irrational. So why don't you tell me in like I'm 10, what do you want to talk about?
Why don't you give me a summary? It says this is the cost. The cost for the medication $4,000. And then you get your, then the insurance paid.
Oh, lots. DNA is the biggest one. It's biological code. The Earth is perfect distance from the sun. The gravitational force is precisely where it needs to be for conditions of life. There's over 8 billion people on the planet. No two people have the same two fingerprints. There's over 3 million light-sensitive cells per eye. There's over 1 billion calculations the mind makes in a second. And the math of those being plausible and uncreated is mathematically absurd. What say you?
Not just the one sheet, it's a whole bunch of stuff. By the week. Well, I never do figure them out either. It's like,
okay. Well, that's your opinion. It's flawed because of other reasons, but your argument's also flawed. So you're gonna have to do better than that. You gotta steel man your argument, man. You gotta do better. That doesn't make any. Still, you're arguing a straw man. You got to argue the points that I've made on the face of it. You're arguing away from the points, not on the points. Argue the math. I argue the math, Willie. Argue the math that I presented. If you can't do that, then you've lost. By default. Someone else is here, but I don't know who that is. But I hope that person shows.
These automatically like 40 bucks, 43 bucks out. And then you look at something. So it does. It was covered. So you know,
I've got a better question for you, Willie. What's the most convincing argument to have for an uncreated universe? And don't give me this crap about burden of proof being on mine.
Oh, the tax cut?
What a bunch of BS. That's just bullshit, man. That's science fiction. You are this is not science, Willie. This is not proven. This is just a claim that's absurd, just like atheism. See, I'll tell you the problem for your position. You have no foundation. Atheism has no foundational foundation, and that's why it's dumb. Again, I'm saying your position is dumb, not you. Just so we're clear. Atheism doesn't have anything to stand on. It's absurd. And the sooner you realize this, the better off you'll be. I'm being serious about that. Atheism is absurd, logically absurd, scientifically impossible. And the only reason people are atheists is because they don't like the idea that there's an authority higher than the man or woman in the mirror. I don't care. You can say that all you want, Willie. It's a position. You're just being intellectually dishonest. If you keep this up, I have no interest in talking to you. If you're going to talk about it, I mean, if atheism wasn't a position, then we wouldn't be able to have a debate. So stop being a child intellectually. If you're going to play with the big boys, you got to play with it like an adult. Otherwise, just stop.
I was trying to think of I see that. The rest is okay. Boy, this film explanation. I go to that one. I go to my you know, Saturday thing all there. It's my medical thing. Pretty much all.
I could do it myself, but I thought, you know what, $167 more. It wasn't bad. He started it's literally set up. And I think it's taking a bit of an early fact, stressed out too. And I'm thinking, I got a little more sophisticated also.
So if we're gonna have adult conversations, then we need to keep this at the level of adults. That's all I'm gonna say about that. If you can't do that, then I'm just not interested in talking about this with you, Willie. My position of the Bible is not the burner proof. No, this is just argument from incredulity, argument from ignorance, and the Bible has met the burden of proof, and it has not been protected by history, geology, or any field of science. This is the position that naturalism will lead you to, but it's false in the basics. This is circular and begs the question because you bought into a worldview that assumes this position, but it doesn't prove it. And that's a pretty loaded statement that I just made. But if you want to go into it, we can do that. But it's got to be cordial. So meaning that we can disagree, but we got to be respectful. If you can't be respectful, I'm not interested. But I think you can be. You seem like you're respectful anyways. So that's my challenge. I'm willing to debate it, but if we're going to debate it, then it has to be respectful. That's a stupid question. It's circular. So again, if you're going to ask questions, you got to do better with it. Ask a question that doesn't assume the answer. This question assumes an answer, which makes it fallacious and silly. And there actually is evidence of something that happened in Egypt. Not that Moses did, but there's chariots at the bottom of the Red Sea, which kind of indicates that maybe the chariots were there after they tried to cross and God drowned them just like it said in Exodus. Now, of course, you're going to have some wild theory that debunks that, but it's going to be a wild theory. My guess is you've never even heard about the chariots, have you? Oh man, I knew you would say something absurd. See, this is what happens when you present an atheist with truth. That they will say, expect to find a story of Ventura. The absence of chariots in the Red Sea is one of those groups. No, there were chariots in the Red Sea. The reason you may think this is actually the Egyptian government has tried to keep this story under wraps for years. So you're either denying it because the government has made you not be able to be informed, or you're denying it because it's contrary to your narrative. It's one of those two. Tell me which one it is. All right, there's 3 people on the chat now. But I don't know who else is on here besides Willie, because Willie is the only one who's showing his face, which is interesting. If you're here, I'd appreciate it if you comment or show your face. This is a friendly place, so I don't bite, so you got nothing to worry about. But if you want to just watch and observe, I guess you can do that. But I would appreciate it if you engage if you're going to be here. I don't know why you would be if you're not. Oh, just like that. Those 2 are gone because they don't want to engage.
I had like 20, 30, 40 cents. I bought like 10 of them, and the lady came out and massive. What was it? The old fries.
I'll tell you one specific video. Oh, it's processing. That's cool. I don't really even understand this. There's evidence we would expect to find. Sorry, the absence of chariots in the Red Sea is one of those. That's even a contrary thing to say. The absence of chariots is proof that the story is true. I don't even understand. That's contradiction. The way it's worded, anyways. Man, I hope someone else comes. This is kind of boring so far. I claim chariots were there. They've been found there. So what's your issue? What's your issue? To ask the Egyptian government. Like I said, they've been trying to keep the story in their wraps. As to the exact location, I don't know, but they are in Egypt. So again, maybe do a little bit of research. They're in Egypt. Where the hell the Red Sea is exactly, I don't know. But I knew I did have it on good. I have a reliable source that has relayed this information to me, and again, it's a reliable source. No, again, I told you a couple times now, the Egyptian government has tried very hard to keep the story tight-lipped, and for good reason. It's embarrassing for the Egyptians, so I don't blame them for doing it, but the Egyptians in general are pretty tight-lipped with a lot of things. I mean, they've shut the internet down on their own people a couple times, so this is not really surprising. If they're going to shut the internet down on their own people, I'm pretty sure they would keep a story that's one of the most embarrassing stories in the history of that culture under wraps. If they're going to shut down internet on their own people, I mean, just say, why did no one write down? Holy crap, the river turned to blood. Well, I don't know. I don't think that's really interesting. That's not really important to me. The thing that's important to me is that there is some corroboration, and there does seem to be some corroboration. So if you're just going to argue all over the place like atheists tend to do, then I don't really find that that argumentation in good faith. I think you're reaching for straws, and I think you know you're reaching for straws, which is why you're asking wildly from one topic to another. And this is another thing atheists. So this is why I've said before, and I don't mean this in a condescending or mean way, but I think you are on a spectrum, really, because your mind is all over the map. You can't stay in one conversation for any length of time. You want to talk, but you don't want to listen. And whatever I say, it's not good enough for you. It's just argument for inferiority, deflection, straw man. Your mind is all over the map. You can't stay on the conversation for any length of time. You're hyper, you're agitated, and you can't reason and do logic to save your life. And again, I'm not saying that to be demean. I'm just saying this is an observation I have with atheists, generally speaking. Everything I just said. That's just circular. I mean, you can see that I'm picking straw of a straw field where there's nothing but straws. I mean, if you can't say that's circular, then I don't even know what to tell you. I mean, it defeated itself. This is a circular statement. It's just silly. I mean, this is why I think you're on a spectrum, because you can't stay on a topic for any length of time. And this is what theists are always doing with atheists is, okay, we're not over here. Let's stay here first. Finish over here and then go over here. It's like doing a chore. Finish loading the dishes before you start the dishwasher. But you want to start the dishwasher as you're doing the dishes, conversationally. And I'm trying to tell you, that's not the way to go about it. But you're not listening to me, because you don't listen. Because atheists don't listen. They like to talk, but not listen. Okay, let me explain it to you. I'm picking a straw out of a straw field, and nothing but straws. So the straws from the straw fields, nothing but straws. It's so ridiculously circular that it's evident, and that you can't see it proves to me there's a disconnect in your mind that's struggling with some sort of cognitive dissonance. But you haven't. You haven't picked up any straws. You've just made silly claims that you have nothing but. You haven't backed anything up. You've only made ridiculous claims. Yes, I do. This is just a silly, typical atheist argument. I understand perfectly what you're saying, but your argument is still circular, and that you can't see that is your fault, not mine. It's not my problem that you can't see it. I'm not here. I mean, I shouldn't have to educate a grown man, really. And this is the embarrassing thing about atheists. It's like you really gotta. I have to educate you. We have to educate you guys in everything, almost. I mean, except for like the really more educated of you, but I mean, your average garden atheist is honestly inept in pretty much every way. You're social inept, you're educationally inept, you're historically inept, you're philosophically inept, you're relationally inept. I mean, and I'm not saying this again to be mean, but I mean, stats prove there's a lot of issues behind the scenes with people who hold to your position. Much more pronounced than me. And I'm not saying that Christians don't have issues. Don't get me wrong. But you got way more, man. I mean, out of the position and as a person. I'm not saying you personally, but that your people of your position have way more issues in life, typically, than a Christian or theist does. And stats back me up. So. Oh, sure. Choice. He was teaching Job reliance.
I know.
And he's God. So there we go. How about this? I get a better question for you, Laura Wonky. Willie, how does a loving God, I have a better question. How does a just God tolerate sinful people when he is justified to wipe us off the face of the earth? And he hasn't done that since about 6,000 years ago, according to my narrative. So how does a just God tolerate sin? That's a question I'd like you to answer. Did you ask me a question about love? No, I'm asking you a question about justice. That's fair. This is how dialogical reciprocity works. No, that's just a stupid claim. You got to be better than this. This is like my nephews and nieces could argue better than this. So this is strike one. I have a 3-strike rule. If you can't do better than this, then I'm just gonna tune you in. You're missing the point. I said since then. So this is strike 2. You're not arguing. You're arguing around the point, not to the point. So I'm gonna rephrase the question. If you can't get it one more time, I'm going to tune you out because you don't understand it. Either because you can't or because you don't want to. Either way, it's not my fault. So, how can a just God tolerate the sin of people being just? No. Okay, you got one more chance. How can a loving God tolerate sin? Period. And be loving or just. Remember, you're on your last strike. That's good. Think about it. You don't have to respond immediately. It's something that atheists think they have to do, but they don't have to. Give yourself time. I'm here for a while, so remember, here's a question. If he's all powerful, he can endure whatever I throw at him. Yeah, but that's okay. I'll give you half a point for that, but it's still not exactly what I'm asking. He's all powerful. Well, that's besides the point. Okay, let me rephrase it in a way that you'll understand. God is morally perfect. How can a morally perfect God tolerate sin and sinful man and be justified in doing so? Like, I'll just for example. Hypothetically, if I was God and I'm morally perfect, how can I tolerate you in my presence when you're a sinful person?
I ignore both of them. Just go to the firefox. From Firefox, usually now the scary part of Firefox was that they record every time you want to save the password. You do that, right? That's Firefox. But then when you go to security, privacy and settings and all that, let me look this up.
Okay, you don't get it. Okay, bye, Willie. You earned it. This is the kind of rhetoric that gets atheism nothing but this kind of shit. All right, someone's still here.
And you're on that website. Or